you're about to scroll past this. I can sense it. Your thumb's already moving, your mind already tuning out. But wait, what if this exact urge to skip is part of the very pattern that's been keeping you stuck? What if the thing you're about to ignore is actually the doorway you've been searching for all along? This moment isn't random. You didn't just find this message by chance. Energy doesn't work like that. Attention is magnetic, and right now, your energy aligned with these words for a reason. Because something inside you knows. It's time. Time to stop repeating the same loops. Time to finally break free. Let's talk about what's really been happening. People love to talk about manifestation, about creating your own reality. But very few understand why some people seem to attract everything easily, while others feel like they're chasing shadows. It's not about trying harder. It's not about wanting more. It's about something quieter, something that happens in the stillness between your thoughts, in that space where you stop chasing and start receiving. Here's the truth. That restless energy inside you, the one that pushes you to keep scrolling, keep searching, keep learning, is the same energy that's blocking what you want. You've been living in what I call the seeking frequency, a state where you're always looking, but never arriving. Think about it. How many videos, books, and ideas have you consumed hoping for change? How many times did you feel motivated, only to fall back into old habits days later? That's because motivation without stillness becomes noise. It feels good, but it never lands. Your mind has been trained to believe that the answer is out there, in the next idea, the next person, the next breakthrough. But what if the answer isn't in finding more? What if it's in finally stopping long enough to feel what's already inside you? This is where quantum truth becomes real-life wisdom. In physics, the observer affects what is observed. Your inner state changes what shows up in your outer world. So if you're always in motion, always seeking, always chasing, you're sending out the vibration of not enough. And the universe, the quantum field that mirrors your energy, simply reflects that back. It keeps giving you more seeking, more chasing, more lack. But when you stop, when you pause, breathe, and choose to be, you shift your frequency from seeking to receiving. And that's when everything starts to change. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. More seeking, more not enough, more almost, but not quite. That's the loop you've been living in. But right now, in this exact moment, you have the chance to break it. Not by doing more, but by finally doing less. Not by adding another method, book, or affirmation, but by mastering something far more powerful, the art of receiving. Because true receiving, real quantum receiving, doesn't happen when you're chasing. It happens in stillness. It happens when you stop running from yourself long enough to let what's meant for you finally reach you. Let me tell you something that might completely change how you see reality. Every dream you've ever had, every goal, every desire, already exists. It's out there in the quantum field, waiting in potential form. The question isn't if it's possible. The question is, are you aligned enough to let it in? And alignment doesn't come through force. It's not about grinding, working harder, or trying to be positive all the time. Alignment comes through surrender, through stillness, through what I call conscious stopping. Conscious stopping isn't laziness. It's not giving up. It's a deliberate act. Choosing to interrupt the endless momentum of seeking and making space for receiving. Because here's the truth. The same energy you've been using to chase your desires has been pushing them away. Here's your first quantum shift. Right now, when you feel that old urge to scroll, to move, to check your phone, pause. Just for 60 seconds. Place your hand over your heart. Breathe. Not because breathing is some kind of magic trick, but because it rebalances your energy. It creates harmony between your heart and your mind. It shifts your entire system from seeking mode into receiving mode. And as you breathe, whisper softly to yourself, I am ready to receive. Not I'm manifesting. Not I'm working toward my goals. Just, I am ready to receive. Those 5 words rewire your energy. They tell the universe that you're done chasing. You're done waiting. You're done living somewhere in the future. You're here. Now. Open. Present. Try this for 3 days. Every time that restless urge hits, to skip, to scroll, to escape, stop. Breathe. Whisper. I am ready to receive. Watch what begins to unfold. Not through some dramatic miracle, but in subtle, quiet ways. You'll notice strange timing, perfect coincidences, conversations that seem too aligned to be random. Resources will appear just when you need them. Doors will open with almost no effort. This isn't magic. This is quantum mechanics in motion. Quantum entanglement shows us that 2 particles can be deeply connected, instantly mirroring each other, no matter how far apart they are. Your desires are like that. They're entangled with you, but that connection only activates when you're in coherence, when your inner world is calm, clear, and focused. Constant motion, endless scrolling, restless seeking, that creates quantum noise. It scatters your signal. It tells the universe mixed messages. But when you stop, when you breathe, when you become still, your signal sharpens. It becomes clean, direct, powerful. Most people are broadcasting static, hoping for clarity. They're trying to manifest from confusion, from chaos. But chaos only echoes back more chaos. Clarity creates clarity. Stillness creates movement. Receiving creates manifestation. And here's the part almost everyone misses. The secret most manifestation teachings never mention. Your mind thinks it knows what you want, but your consciousness, the deeper part of you, is working on levels far beyond thought. There's a deeper intelligence inside you, what some quantum biologists call your morphic field. It's like an invisible blueprint that already knows what's right for you, what's aligned with your highest path. But here's the thing. This intelligence doesn't speak loudly. It doesn't shout over your thoughts. It whispers. It nudges. It guides gently. And those whispers can only be heard when your mind gets quiet enough to listen. When you pause. When you stop running and finally tune in to the voice that's been trying to reach you all along. Take a moment and think about this. When was the last time you felt one of those inner whispers? That soft knowing that felt different from ordinary thoughts. What was it trying to tell you? Did you listen to it, or did you ignore it? This is why conscious stopping is so powerful. It's not just about receiving what you want. It's about becoming open to what your deeper wisdom knows you actually need. And what you need is often far greater and more fulfilling than what your mind thinks it wants. So here's your second quantum shift. Every morning, before you touch your phone, before you dive into the noise of the world, sit still for just 60 seconds. Place one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Breathe slowly. And as you breathe, say silently, I am here. I am present. I am not running today. That simple practice changes everything. It creates what scientists call neural coherence. Your brain waves begin to synchronize. Your heart and nervous system come into balance. You shift from stress and seeking into clarity and calm. You're literally tuning your body, your biological radio, to the frequency of flow, not force. Try this for 1 week, just one, and notice how life starts to respond differently. You'll find yourself calmer. You'll notice things aligning more easily. The right people and moments start appearing exactly when you need them, not because you're working harder, not because you're forcing anything, but because you're finally allowing. Time begins to stretch. Opportunities reveal themselves. Life starts to feel guided instead of chased. But here's what matters most. At the deepest level, this isn't about manifesting more stuff or reaching endless goals. It's about stepping into your true power as a conscious creator. Because real manifestation isn't about forcing the universe to give you what you want. It's about aligning so deeply with your authentic self that reality naturally mirrors your truth back to you. Most people try to manifest from their personality, from their ego, their fears, their comparisons. They want what they think they should want, based on what others have, or what society praises. But that's not creation. That's imitation. Your personality is just the surface. Beneath it lies something far greater, your consciousness. And that consciousness is already connected to what physicists call the unified field, the space where all possibilities exist at once. When you practice conscious stopping, you don't just open yourself to new things. You open yourself to higher guidance. You start receiving insights, ideas, directions that don't come from logic, but from something beyond it, from your deeper self. That's when you remember the truth. You're not separate from the intelligence that created the universe. You are that intelligence, experiencing itself through you. And this is where trust becomes everything. Because your deeper wisdom will sometimes guide you in ways that don't make sense to your logical mind. It might whisper that it's time to end something safe. It might pull you toward a risk that feels uncertain. It might ask you to release control before you see what's next. Your mind wants clarity. It wants a map. It wants to know the how before taking the step. But quantum reality doesn't work that way. In the quantum field, infinite outcomes exist at once, all waiting for your conscious choice to bring one of them into being. You don't need to know how it unfolds. You just need to trust the whisper and take the step when it comes. This means the path to your desires won't appear all at once. It won't come as a clear roadmap. It unfolds one step at a time, revealed only as you move forward. And taking that next step requires one thing above all. Trust in the whispers of your deeper knowing. Trust in the unseen intelligence guiding your steps. Trust that even when you can't see the full picture, something larger is at work behind the scenes. So here's your third quantum shift. And this one might feel uncomfortable because it asks you to move without certainty. When you receive a whisper, you'll know it instantly. It doesn't sound like mental noise. It doesn't argue or over-explain. It feels calm, clear, solid, more like knowing than thinking. When that happens, act quickly. Don't overanalyze it. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't ask 10 people for their opinions. Take the action the whisper suggests before your mind talks you out of it. Send the message, make the call, sign up for the class, apply for the job, book the ticket. Whatever it is, move toward it before your logical brain creates 1,000 excuses. This is how you build trust, with your intuition. Not through huge leaps of faith, but through small acts of alignment. Every time you honor a whisper, you strengthen the bridge between your conscious mind and your deeper intelligence. Every time you follow subtle guidance and watch it lead somewhere meaningful, your confidence in that inner voice grows. But here's the key. The whispers don't always take you where your personality wants to go. Sometimes, following your intuition leads you through detours, through situations that feel like setbacks or even mistakes. But they're not mistakes. They're redirects. Your deeper wisdom sees far beyond what your conscious mind can comprehend. It knows the longer path that leads to your highest good. So when things don't go the way you expected, breathe. Trust. Remember that what feels wrong now might be leading you exactly where you're meant to be. Take a moment and ask yourself, what pattern, story, or fear are you ready to release so you can make space for this new way of living? Write it down, speak it, or drop it in the comments below. Sometimes, naming what we're releasing is the first act of freedom. I once worked with someone who heard a whisper to quit a job she truly loved. Her mind panicked. It made no sense. But the whisper kept coming. Quiet, steady, unshakable. Finally, she listened. For months, nothing seemed to work. She doubted herself, struggled financially, wondered if she'd made a terrible mistake. But then, through a random connection she made during that lost period, she discovered her true calling, something she never could have seen from where she started. That's how quantum navigation works. You can't see the entire path from the beginning. You only ever see the next step. But when you take that step in trust, the next one appears, and then the next. And soon, what once looked random begins to form a pattern, a design, a destiny more beautiful than anything your logical mind could have planned. Take a breath. Feel into this truth. And if it resonates with you, comment below with this exact phrase. I am ready to trust the whispers. I want you to say these words out loud, not just to me, but to the universe itself. I trust the whispers of my deeper knowing. Because when you speak something aloud, when you declare it with intention, you shift energy. You collapse possibility into reality. You tell the quantum field, I'm ready. This isn't just another YouTube comment or casual affirmation. This is an energetic commitment, your personal signature in the field of creation. You're declaring that you're done living by old patterns. You're choosing a new way of being. And when many people make the same declaration, something even more powerful happens. We create what biologist Rupert Sheldrake calls a morphic field, a shared vibration, a pattern of consciousness that makes it easier for others to step into the same frequency. Your transformation doesn't just shift your life. It contributes to the awakening of everyone connected to this field. Now, here's where everything we've talked about begins to come together. Once you've learned to pause instead of rush, once you've opened yourself to receive, once you've started trusting and acting on those inner whispers, something changes. You begin to live in flow state, not as a rare moment of magic, but as your natural rhythm of life. Flow state isn't just for athletes or artists. It's a way of being. It's alignment with the deeper currents of creation. It's the dance between movement and stillness, between speaking and listening, giving and receiving. Most people fight against these natural rhythms. They try to force action when the energy isn't there. They stay passive when life is clearly calling them to rise. They talk when they should listen, and stay silent when their voice is needed most. But when you start tuning into this deeper intelligence, the same one that moves planets and grows forests, you begin to feel the rhythm. You can sense when it's time to act and when it's time to rest, when to speak up and when to stay still. Living this way requires a complete shift in how you see time. Linear time tells you to be productive every second, always achieving, always reaching, always proving. But quantum time works differently. In quantum time, there are cycles, moments to act, and moments to integrate, times to receive and times to give, phases of expansion and phases of stillness. When you honor these natural rhythms instead of forcing yourself into constant output, something incredible happens. Your results multiply. You do less, but accomplish more. Not through struggle, but through precision. Not through pressure, but through perfect timing. You move when it's time to move. You rest when it's time to rest. You let energy work with you instead of fighting against it. If this feels like something deep inside you has been waiting to hear, like a quiet yes rising from your soul, then consider this your invitation. Don't just subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this frequency. Because what we're talking about here isn't just personal growth. It's remembering. Remembering who you were before the noise, before the programming, before the world told you who to be. When you choose this path, you're saying yes to the truth that there's a more graceful, more natural, more powerful way to live, guided not by fear, but by flow. And now, we arrive at the deepest layer of all, the foundation beneath everything we've explored so far. All of this, the conscious stopping, the receiving, the trusting, the flow, is preparing you for quantum living. And quantum living is based on one extraordinary truth. You are not separate from what you desire. This isn't just a metaphor. It's not just spirituality. It's quantum science. At the deepest level of existence, what physicists call the zero-point field, there is no separation between the observer and the observed, between you and what you experience, between your mind and the intelligence of the universe. Your desires aren't out there somewhere waiting for you to attract them. They already live inside you. They are aspects of your own consciousness, seeking to be expressed through your life. When you desire love, it's your own loving nature asking to shine more fully. When you desire abundance, it's your creative power wanting to expand freely. When you crave meaning, it's your deeper self longing to express its true purpose. You're not chasing your desires. You are your desires, calling yourself into alignment, calling yourself home. This understanding changes everything about manifestation. You're not chasing something outside of you. You're allowing what's already inside you to come forward. You're not trying to control reality. You're letting reality express itself through you. But here's the secret. This can only happen through surrender, not force. Through allowing, not controlling. Through trust, not manipulation. Because the moment you try to force your inner self to express in a certain way, you create resistance. It's like trying to make a flower bloom faster by pulling on its petals. The harder you pull, the more you stop it from blooming. But when you give it the right conditions, good soil, sunlight, water, it opens on its own, beautifully and effortlessly. Your life works the same way. Everything we've talked about, pausing, breathing, trusting your inner voice, flowing with natural rhythms, creates the space for your deeper self to bloom. That's why stopping feels powerful. It's not laziness, it's preparation. You're clearing space for your true essence to move through you. You're letting inspiration rise from within. You're allowing the same intelligence that designs galaxies to guide your everyday choices. When you live like this, your life becomes art. Not perfect, not always easy, but real. Every decision feels aligned. Every action carries purpose. Every relationship mirrors truth. He felt lost, empty, disconnected, like he was living a life that didn't belong to him. But as he began practicing what we've been talking about, pausing, listening, trusting, he started to feel something shift inside. He began to touch his deeper self, and what he found there completely surprised him. His inner guidance wasn't interested in building more success or chasing another business goal. It was calling him towards something completely different, helping children who had been through trauma. His logical mind panicked. How could he walk away from everything he had built? How could he start over in a field where he had no experience, no contacts, no guarantee of success? But the whisper inside was steady and clear, and as he slowly began to follow it, something incredible started happening. Instead of losing his success, it began to support his new purpose. Doors opened that he couldn't have planned. The same network that once served his business now helped him fund trauma recovery programs. His wealth became a tool for healing instead of just a way to measure success. That's how authentic creation really works. You don't manifest against your true nature. You manifest through it. And what unfolds is always more meaningful, more fulfilling, and more aligned than anything your ego could imagine. But living this way takes real courage. Because following your truth often means disappointing people who want you to stay the same. It means taking steps that don't make sense to anyone else. It means trusting yourself even when logic says you're crazy. And most of all, it means facing the parts of yourself you've been running from. The pain, the fear, the shadow. Your true self isn't just light and love. It's everything. Your strength and your softness, your confidence and your wounds. Real authenticity means becoming whole, not just pretending to be positive. What I've shared with you today is only the beginning of what becomes possible when you learn to master your frequency. When you stop being a passive receiver and start becoming a conscious transmitter of energy. In my complete guide, Beyond the Frequencies, I explain the 9 master frequencies that can help you shift from unconscious survival to conscious creation, showing you how to rise out of chaos and into clarity. You'll find it linked in the pinned comment below. This journey of conscious creation often looks like things falling apart. Relationships that once fit may no longer feel right. Jobs or paths that once made sense may suddenly feel lifeless. Beliefs that once gave comfort may start to crumble. But this isn't destruction. It's transformation. You're not losing who you are. You're shedding who you never were. You're not breaking your life. You're uncovering your real life, the one waiting underneath all the old patterns. And here's the beautiful part. The more real you become, the more you give others permission to do the same. Your courage to be authentic reminds others that they can drop their masks too. Your trust in your own inner wisdom helps others remember their own. Your presence sends ripples into the world that awakens something in everyone you meet. Because your awakening is never just about you. In a connected universe, your transformation touches everything. When you shift from seeking to receiving, from pushing to allowing, from reacting to creating, you actually change the collective energy field we all share. Think about the people who've inspired you most. Chances are, it wasn't because they were the most successful or the most perfect. It was because they were real. Because they had the courage to be seen as they truly were. Honest, vulnerable, and human. That's the gift you give to others when you choose to live authentically. You become a reminder that it's possible to live without masks, to feel deeply without collapsing, to be powerful without controlling. But remember, this path isn't about becoming perfect or reaching some final spiritual state. It's about becoming more real, more awake, more present. It's about showing up as your true self, even when it's messy, uncertain, or incomplete. There will be days when you forget everything we've talked about. Days when you slip back into old habits, when you doubt your intuition, when you crave external approval again. There will be times when you feel the distance between who you were and who you're becoming, and it will feel almost unbearable. That's okay. That's part of awakening. The goal isn't to never fall back. The goal is to notice it faster, to be gentle with yourself when it happens, to return softly and sincerely to your truth again and again. Because each time you do, you strengthen your connection to your authentic self. And that, more than anything, is what transforms your life. Here's what I've learned through my own path and through working with thousands of people walking this same journey. The returning matters more than the forgetting. Every time you realize you've fallen back into old habits and choose to come back to your deeper truth, you build your strength. Every time you notice yourself looking for approval outside of you and instead choose to trust your inner knowing, you deepen your connection to your real self. It's like building a muscle. A muscle doesn't grow by avoiding resistance. It grows by meeting it, by stretching, by recovering, by pushing through and integrating that new strength. Your authenticity works the same way. It doesn't grow by living an easy, challenge-free life. It grows by being tested and choosing, again and again, to stay real. By choosing openness when it would be easier to shut down. By choosing trust when doubt feels safer. By choosing truth when pretending would help you fit in. And as this muscle of authenticity grows, something amazing happens. Being yourself starts to feel more natural than pretending. Listening to your inner voice feels safer than following everyone else's rules. Trusting your deeper wisdom feels more secure than chasing approval. That's when you know true transformation has taken root. Not when your problems are gone or all your goals are met, but when being yourself finally feels like home instead of a risk. Most people never reach that point. They choose comfort over truth. They follow what's familiar, even if it keeps them stuck. They live by other people's expectations, even if it means betraying their own soul. But if you're still here, listening to these words, something in you is different. You're not most people. You're someone who's ready to live authentically, even if it's uncomfortable. You're someone willing to trust your inner guidance, even when others don't understand. You're someone brave enough to be real, even if the world isn't ready for your truth. And when you make that choice, that full commitment to authenticity, something extraordinary begins to happen. Reality starts to rearrange itself around your truth. Not instantly, not all at once, but gradually and unmistakably. New doors open, right people appear, situations shift to support your next level of becoming. The outside world starts to mirror the energy of your inner world. This isn't coincidence, it's quantum mechanics. Your consciousness is always communicating with the field of infinite potential, shaping what experiences become available to you. When your consciousness is no longer divided between who you are and who you think you should be, the universe can finally respond with clarity. But here's the key. The universe doesn't give you what your ego wants. It gives you what your soul is ready for. Sometimes that lines up with what you desire, and sometimes it doesn't. Learning to trust what shows up, even when it's not what you expected, is the essence of living authentically. I remember a time in my life when I was trying to manifest a specific relationship. I had it all planned in my head. Who the person was, what it would look like, how it would feel. I was visualizing, affirming, aligning, doing everything right. And yet, nothing happened. In fact, the harder I tried, the more disconnected I felt. Eventually, I surrendered. I stopped trying to control how love should show up and simply opened my heart to whatever form it wanted to take. That's when everything changed. The person who came into my life wasn't the one I had imagined, but it was the exact relationship my soul needed. It stretched me, healed me, taught me to love in ways my mind could never have planned. It wasn't the fantasy my ego wanted. It was the experience my consciousness needed to evolve. That's why letting go is such a powerful part of authentic creation. It doesn't mean giving up your desires. It means releasing your grip on how they have to unfold. It means desiring without demand, intending without insisting, and trusting that life knows how to deliver what will truly serve your growth. When you can want something without clinging to it, when you can set an intention and then allow the form to surprise you, that's when creation becomes effortless. That's when you step into what mystics call the flow of grace. Living in this flow means changing your relationship with time itself. Linear time, clock time, deadline time, creates pressure and urgency. It makes you feel like you're running out of chances, like life is slipping through your fingers. But in the flow of grace, time feels different. It expands. It bends around your awareness. You begin to see that everything arrives right when you're ready. Never too early, never too late. That's the deeper secret of authentic creation. You're not waiting on time. Time is waiting on you. There's another kind of time. The ancient Greeks called it kairos. It means sacred time, the right time, the moment when things unfold naturally, without force. When you live in tune with your true nature, you start to feel kairos time. You just know when it's time to act and when it's time to wait, when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move forward and when to step back. This knowing doesn't come from your mind. It comes from your body, from something deep and ancient inside you. And when you act in harmony with kairos time, everything flows differently. Your actions gain a kind of power you can't explain. One conversation at the right moment can change your whole life. One decision made at the right time can open doors that all your pushing and struggling never could. One act of honesty, offered when someone's ready to hear it, can trigger real transformation. And right now, something strange is happening. You're about to scroll past this. I can feel it. Your thumb is already twitching. Your mind already dismissing what it hasn't even heard yet. But pause for a second. What if this exact moment, this tiny passing second you were about to skip, is the doorway you've been searching for? What if the thing you keep avoiding is actually the key to breaking the loop you've been trapped in for years? You didn't find this by accident. The universe doesn't work by coincidence. Energy follows attention, and your attention landed here, right now, for a reason. Something inside you, deeper than thought, deeper than logic, knows you're ready. Ready to stop running in circles. Ready to wake up from the pattern that's been running your life. See, here's what most people never really understand about manifestation, about creating reality, about why some people attract what they want with ease, while others keep struggling. It's not about thinking harder. It's not about wanting more. It's about what happens in between, in the still moments between thoughts, in the pause between breaths, in the quiet where you finally allow instead of chase. That constant restless energy you feel, the need to keep scrolling, keep learning, keep searching. That's what's been blocking you. You've been living in what I call the seeking frequency. It's a state where you're always moving, always trying to arrive, but never actually arriving. Think about it. How many manifestation videos have you watched? How many books have you read? How many times have you felt that spark of motivation, only to find yourself back in the same cycle days later? That's because inspiration alone doesn't change your life. Integration does. And integration only happens in stillness. Your system has been trained to believe that the answer is always somewhere else, in the next idea, the next method, the next big secret. But what if it's not? What if the answer isn't in getting more information, but in being still long enough to let what you already know take root? This is where quantum reality becomes deeply personal. In physics, we know the observer affects the observed, meaning your state of being changes what becomes real. So if you're always in the seeking state, always chasing, always reaching, always feeling not there yet, you're radiating a frequency of lack. And the universe mirrors that back to you perfectly. More seeking, more waiting, more almost, but not quite. But right now, in this exact breath, you can stop. You can break the loop. You can drop from the seeking frequency into the receiving frequency. The shift doesn't come from doing more. It comes from being fully here, quiet, open. This moment, the one you almost skipped, might just be Kairos time. Not by doing more, but by doing less. Not by collecting another method or trick, but by mastering the quiet art of receiving. Because true receiving, real quantum reception, needs stillness. It asks for courage. The courage to stop running from yourself long enough to let what's meant for you finally land. Let me share something that can completely shift the way you see reality. Every dream you have, every goal, every desire, it already exists in the quantum field as pure potential. The question isn't if it's possible. The real question is, are you aligned enough to receive it? And alignment isn't achieved through effort or control. It happens through surrender, through stillness, through what I call conscious stopping. Now, conscious stopping isn't the same as being lazy or passive. It's an active decision. It's you interrupting the endless cycle of chasing and creating space for receiving. It's realizing that the energy you've used to chase your dreams is the same energy that's been pushing them away. Here's your first quantum shift. Right now, as you feel that tiny urge to move on, to scroll, to check something else, stop. Just for 60 seconds. Place your hand on your heart and breathe. Not because breathing is magical, but because conscious breathing connects your heart and brain. It literally rewires your nervous system, moving you from seeking mode into receiving mode. And as you breathe, say quietly to yourself, I am ready to receive. Not, I am trying to manifest. Not, I'm working toward my goals. Just, I am ready to receive. This simple phrase changes your relationship with the universe. It signals to your whole system that you're done chasing. You're done believing you're incomplete. You're here now. Open, receptive, grounded. Try this for 3 days. Every time you feel the urge to scroll away, to rush, to distract yourself, pause, breathe, whisper it again. I am ready to receive. And then watch. Not for big fireworks or instant miracles, but for the subtle shifts. Notice the small coincidences, the perfectly timed text, the unexpected opportunity, the gentle feeling of ease replacing your old anxiety. This isn't magic. This is quantum physics in motion. Now, here's why this works on a deeper level. Quantum entanglement shows that particles can stay connected across any distance. When one changes, the other instantly responds. Your desires, your dreams, they're quantumly entangled with you. But this connection only activates when your energy is coherent, not chaotic. When you're constantly seeking, scrolling, doubting, pushing, your energy signal becomes scattered. fuzzy, contradictory. But when you stop, when you breathe, when you allow, your signal becomes clear, focused, powerful. Most people are broadcasting noise to the universe and wondering why nothing clear comes back. They try to manifest from chaos, and chaos is all they receive. But coherence creates clarity. Stillness creates motion. Reception creates manifestation. And here's where most manifestation teachings get it wrong. They focus on techniques instead of states. They tell you to visualize harder, to repeat affirmations, to push your mind into shape. But your consciousness is so much more than your mind. You have a deeper intelligence inside you, what some scientists call your morphic field. It already knows what's in alignment with your highest path. But it doesn't shout. It whispers. It guides you through soft feelings, subtle nudges, quiet knowing. And you can only hear these whispers when the mental noise fades. When you stop long enough to actually listen to what's been guiding you all along. Take a moment. Reflect. When was the last time you felt one of those subtle knowings? That quiet inner voice that felt different from your usual thoughts. What was it trying to tell you? Did you listen? This is why conscious stopping is so powerful. It's not just about getting what you want. It's about becoming open to what your soul knows you need. And what you need is often far greater than what your mind can imagine. Here's your second quantum shift. Each morning, before you reach for your phone, before you get caught in the day's momentum, sit still for 60 seconds. Place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Breathe slowly and say within yourself, I am here. I am present. I am not running today. That's it. This simple moment of stillness creates what neuroscientists call neural coherence. Your heart and brain begin to sync. Your nervous system moves from chaos into calm. You tune your body's frequency to flow instead of force. Try it for 1 week. Watch how things start to shift, not because you're doing more, but because you're finally being more. Time feels slower, clearer. Opportunities show up naturally. The right people appear at the perfect moments. But here's what matters most. This isn't about getting more things or achieving bigger goals. It's about awakening your true creative power. Because real manifestation isn't about controlling reality to match your desires. It's about aligning so deeply with your true self that reality mirrors your authenticity back to you. Most people try to manifest from their ego, from their fears, comparisons, and expectations. But your ego is just a small fragment of what you truly are. Your consciousness extends far beyond that, into the unified field, the place where every possibility already exists. When you practice conscious stopping, when you open to receive, you're not just calling in material things. You're opening a channel for deeper wisdom, for intuitive insight, for direct communication with the field of creation itself. You're remembering that you're not separate from the intelligence that made stars, oceans, and galaxies. You are that intelligence, expressing itself as you. And that's where trust comes in. Because sometimes your deeper wisdom will guide you in ways that your personality won't understand. It might nudge you toward a hard conversation. It might lead you to let go of something safe. It might ask you to walk into the unknown. Your ego wants guarantees. It wants a clear plan. But quantum reality doesn't give you that. In the quantum field, all possibilities exist at once, and they collapse into form only when observed with presence and trust. So the path never appears all at once. It unfolds step by step. Each act of trust becomes the observation that shapes the next moment of your reality. And that's the truth of conscious creation. You don't chase it. You don't force it. You become it. Trust in the intelligence that's quietly arranging everything behind the scenes. Trust that even when you can't see the full picture, you're being guided, moment by moment, toward what's meant for you. Here's your third quantum shift. This one might stretch you a little, because it asks you to move forward even when your mind demands certainty. When you hear a whisper, and you'll know it because it feels different from ordinary thought, act on it. It won't feel like logic. It will feel like knowing, like a quiet truth that lands in your body. Don't overthink it. Don't ask for 5 signs or 100 confirmations. Don't let fear talk you out of what your intuition already knows. Act, even if it's a small step. Send the text, make the call, apply for the position, book the trip, start the project. Whatever it is, take the action before your mind builds a wall of reasons not to. This is how you build trust with your inner guidance system. Not through huge dramatic leaps, but through small, consistent acts of faith. Each time you follow that whisper, your confidence in your intuition grows stronger. Each time you act on subtle guidance, and it leads you somewhere meaningful, your connection to the quantum intelligence deepens. But here's the truth most people miss. The whispers won't always take you where your personality wants to go. Sometimes they'll guide you through detours that make no sense. Sometimes they'll lead you into uncertainty, discomfort, or what looks like a mistake. Trust the process anyway. Your deeper wisdom sees from a higher vantage point, far beyond what your logical mind can grasp. So ask yourself right now, what old pattern or story are you ready to release to make space for this new way of being? Write it down. Name it. Because naming what we release helps set it free. I once worked with a woman who felt an inner pull to quit a job she truly loved. It didn't make sense. Not financially, not logically, but the whisper was clear. So she listened. For months, it felt like failure. She struggled, doubted, and second-guessed herself. But then, through a random connection she made during that uncertain time, she discovered her true calling. Something she never could have imagined before. That's how quantum navigation works. You can't see the full map from where you stand. You only ever see the next step, and each step reveals the one after it. Over time, what once looked random begins to form a pattern, a direction, a destiny. Take a moment now and comment these words. I trust the whispers of my deeper knowing. Say it not just to me, but to the universe itself. Because when you speak something out loud, when you declare it with intention, you shift energy. You collapse possibility into probability. You tell the quantum field, I'm ready. This isn't just about engaging with a video. It's an energetic declaration, a moment where you say to life, I'm ready to live differently. And when enough people make that same declaration, something extraordinary happens. We create what scientist Rupert Sheldrake calls a morphic field, a shared energetic pattern that makes it easier for others to access the same state of consciousness. Now, this is where everything we've explored begins to come together. The stillness, the receiving, the trust, the action. Because once you learn to pause instead of rush, once you begin trusting the whispers and acting on them, something incredible begins to unfold. You start to live in flow state, not as a rare moment, but as your natural rhythm of existence. Flow state isn't only about peak performance. It's about harmony with life itself, moving when it's time to move, resting when it's time to rest, speaking when your truth needs a voice, and listening when silence has wisdom to share. Most people resist these natural rhythms. They force action when the energy isn't aligned. They stay quiet when it's time to speak. They cling when it's time to let go. They hold back when it's time to leap. But once you begin to feel life's deeper rhythm, the one that moves through everything, you begin to sense when to act, when to wait, when to reach out, when to pull back. And that changes everything about how you experience time. Linear time says you must always be productive, always moving, always achieving. But quantum time flows differently. It has cycles, moments for action and moments for rest, moments for giving and moments for receiving, moments for expansion and moments for reflection. When you start honoring these natural cycles, instead of forcing yourself to perform endlessly, you don't become lazy. You become efficient in the most profound way. You accomplish more by doing less, but doing it at the right moment, in the right way, with the right energy. If something inside you feels seen or awakened by this, if you feel like you've been waiting for someone to give you permission to live this way, then take this as that moment. You're not just subscribing to a channel. You're subscribing to a frequency. You're saying yes to a version of yourself that remembers who you really are. Beneath the noise, beneath the rules, beneath the masks. This is your awakening. Your return to the natural intelligence that's always been within you. You're saying yes to the truth that there's a more graceful way to live, a more elegant way to create, a more trustworthy guidance system than fear and control. And now, let's go even deeper, to the core of everything we've explored. Because all of this, the stillness, the reception, the trust, the flow, is leading you to something even greater. Quantum living. Quantum living is based on one simple, powerful truth. You are not separate from what you desire. This isn't just poetry or philosophy. It's quantum science. At the deepest level of existence, the level physicists call the zero-point field, there's no separation between observer and observed, between you and what you experience, between your consciousness and the consciousness of the universe. Your desires aren't things you need to chase. They are parts of you wanting to be expressed. When you desire love, it's your consciousness wanting to show more of its loving nature. When you desire abundance, it's your consciousness longing to express its creative power. When you desire meaning, it's your consciousness yearning to reveal its deeper purpose. This changes everything about manifestation. You're not trying to get something you lack. You're allowing more of who you already are to come forward. You're not manipulating reality from the outside. You're becoming the space through which reality creates itself. Because at the deepest level, you and the universe are not two separate forces. You are the same consciousness, playing both roles, the dreamer and the dream, the creator and the creation, the whisper and the one who listens. But here's the paradox. Your true self can only express itself through surrender, not control, through allowing, not forcing, through trust, not manipulation. Because the moment you try to make your consciousness act a certain way, you create the very separation that blocks its flow. It's like trying to make a flower bloom by pulling on its petals. The more you pull, the more you destroy what could have unfolded naturally. When the conditions are right, rich soil, gentle light, enough water, the flower blooms on its own. No struggle, no pushing, no rush, just pure alignment. Your life is exactly like that flower. Everything we've been talking about, pausing, breathing, trusting, flowing with the natural rhythm of time, these aren't random spiritual ideas. They're the fertile soil for your consciousness to rise through you. They create the perfect environment for your higher intelligence to express itself through your human life. That's why the practice of stillness feels so powerful. You're not being lazy. You're not wasting time. You're creating sacred space for your deeper self to move through you. You're opening the door for inspiration to arrive. You're letting the same intelligence that spins galaxies and grows forests guide your everyday choices. And when you live like this, your life starts to feel like a living artwork, not because it's flawless, but because it's real. Every choice becomes aligned with truth. Every action holds the power of presence. Every relationship mirrors your genuine essence. But here's where many people misunderstand what authentic living really means. They think being authentic means saying whatever they feel in the moment, expressing every emotion, or doing whatever impulse shows up. But that's not authenticity. That's reactivity. True authenticity comes from a deeper place, from your essence, not your ego. It's not about reacting to life. It's about responding from your truth. Your deepest self isn't ruled by fear, desire, or the need for validation. It's calm, it's clear, it's wise. When you begin living from that quiet center, that grounded knowing, your outer life starts to change in subtle, powerful ways. The chaos begins to calm. The right people start appearing. The timing of things begins to make sense. And suddenly, you realize something profound. You were never meant to force your way through life. You were meant to align with it, to let life bloom through you, naturally, gracefully, beautifully.